We have been in loops. Welcome back to another day of living in the new house, except we're not living in a new house, we're in a tile shop. And we have been round and we have looked at stone effect. We have then gone to wood panelling. We then gone back to white tiles. We then looked at stone effect. We then went to grey. We are still no closer to a decision. The main input being from the very helpful lady in the shop is that we should have wood on the floor and white on the walls if we're having wood furniture in there, because obviously wood furniture would be too much. She rightly pointed out that if we're having oak doors, then the oak door kind of needs to be the feature piece, so it needs to be against a wall, and having lighter walls will make the room feel bigger. So we're basically back where we are with white tiles and maybe tiles on the floor instead of LVT on the floor, but not fun. Well, after the tile shenanigans this morning and the still indecision, I think we better crack on with stuff that we know what we're doing on, and that is the continuation to this front room. Couple of things to update you on. I did the keying of the surfaces in this room, and in my tiredness, I took a divot out the wall down here, so we're going to fix that. I was also looking at the taping and fillery, and it says you shouldn't really filler on gaps that are more than 1 millimetre wide, which we have notch gate over here, as well as a few other sort of off bits up and down the top and bottom down here that probably need fillering. So I think what we're going to do is knock up another bag of that, well, not a bag, but a batch of that hardwall stuff and just fill in the bigger gaps around here before we tape and fill. What I've also decided is a good plan of action is this plastic stripping that's around the window is just going to get covered in plaster and ruined when we do it. So Dad's just been taking this off down here, and we have just found there's a couple of notches and gaps down here that we probably want to put some expanding foam in because there's a draft coming through there. So we're going to knock all of that up, but then we will be at the stage where we can mix up a big batch of filler, fill up the crack in the ceiling, all the panels, everything else like that, and then we are go for plaster. So we're going to crack on with the remaining few fettly bits of prep work before we go for it. Bit of a mid-time lapse update. I've decided to be a clean worker for once, and I've actually put sheeting down across all the floor ready for plastering the ceiling. In the land of more discoveries though, Papa has been working away in this corner because there was a load of black mould. Once we'd taken that strip off we'd seen on there, and what we can see is that the I-beam was on there was mesh against it and then plaster. It looks like either some moisture from the plaster or something was underneath it. It was actually causing that black mould underneath there. So Dad's been ripping all of that out. We're going to have to work out the best way to actually plaster onto steel. Now, from what I can see online, putting a bit of a mesh on, as it's sort of done before, and tacking into it looks like potentially the best way to go. But we don't really have any of that right now. So I'm going to potentially look at other options between using some wood, some expanding foam, stuff like that. Because I'm just thinking that if we plaster straight onto the steel again, one, it's not going to stick too well. And two, the moisture is going to go back into the steel and help with the surface corrosion issue. So we need to have a bit of think about that. So that's going to delay things even more, which is good. But I'm at the stage now where everything else is pretty much prepped, ready to go now. So we are on to filler and taping. So the reason I put that on the floor is because I'm going to start doing this part of the ceiling now. So we'll save that problem for a later point in the vlog, once it's all cleared out. But let's crack on with something we know we can do, because at least at the bare minimum, even if I plaster the ceiling today, then we've made some progress, which will be good. Right. Time to try and learn a new skill while attempting to do it on the actual job. So this is going to be fun. We have canal, whatever that is, joint filler premium edition. 6.8 litres of water per 10 kilos. Now we're not going to be using the whole bag. We also have the tape, which has the folding line down the middle, also that funny brand Canal, whatever they are. What I'm proposing we're going to use is anything where there's actual like cracks or lines between plasterboard, we're going to stick that on. But we also have this gyprock fibre tape extreme. I'm basically just going to slap that anywhere where I might actually just have risk of cracks or other things like that. So for example, where we put the hard wall on the wall over there, I'm going to use it over there. But we're going to mix up some of this. We're going to have a play with it and see if we can get it to work, and we'll update you probably after a time-lapse mode to tell you how much chaos that was and whether I learned a new skill or whether it's one I'm not very good at to add to the list of planing, which actually I've got better at planing lately. But anyway, let's crack on with it. First bit of filling and taping is done. First time doing it as well, so what have we learned? First of all, it took way longer than I was planning for it to take, like my nails with everything. It's taken way longer than I was planning to do. I did fill and tape the spots around the edge on the ceiling. Now, because of the plaster layer that was on here, these boards are slit slightly further back, so I'm not overly confident that's going to be the best job in the world with that. So if anybody online is more familiar with it and they've got any thoughts or feedback on how to do that kind of thing better, is it better to, obviously best case would have been ripping all the plasterboard down completely. But what may have potentially been better, I guess, is actually putting a filler layer of plastering first and then taping it afterwards just to make it level. If that's a better tactic, then somebody let me know. If not, then yeah, any other help on that one is appreciated. But yeah, other than that, we've done the vast majority of it. I've got this corner left to finish and a couple of screws I have missed there. I've got this corner left to finish and these two pieces, as well as that board in the corner and the small one down there just to patch up. But we are nearly there with it. So what I'm hoping we can do is finish all those up. We can then scrim tape the other bits, like that exposed bit of pipe work. I want to put some down the pipes around there, and where we've got all the other hardwall stuff in the wall, just scrim tape all the joints there just so we don't end up with any mess. And then I'm hoping we can blast at least a layer of plaster on the ceiling just to get something done, because I did want to get some plastering done today, but we'll just have to see how long this stuff is going to take to set off along the way. I have just turned the heating up. I might even turn it up even further because the heat's got to rise out to the house, so poor Elizabeth downstairs is going to be cooking. But yeah, let's get back to taping and scrimming inside of there and then see what time we get to as to whether we're going to do any plastering or not. Fingers crossed we do. Genuinely can't believe how long it's taken to tape and fill all the holes inside of here. Like, don't know what, I can't remember what time we started, but yeah, that's pretty much taken all day. It's about 11:30 now. But we are at the stage where we should have been on Friday or whenever I made the promise that we'd have all the prep work done, where all the prep work is basically done. The last thing I've got to do is just sand down the rough edges of the filler, because you'll see there's a few noggins here, there and everywhere that we just need to be able to do. So yeah, we've made solid progress from there. The other thing, there is another thing we need to do, and that is the scrim tape on the walls. Now, we wasn't because that we didn't get time to do it, it's because for whatever reason, on this particular surface, we couldn't get the scrim tape to stick properly. Whether the walls are just too cold, they had some dust on them, so we tried cleaning that off, it's not working. We tried heating up the scrim tape, I just cannot get it to stick in the right way. So we may just try almost PVA in it to the wall, which is a bit sad really, because that's supposed to be like extreme super sticky stuff, and it's literally just not sticking, so that's a bit of a sad one. But yeah, plan of action for tomorrow then. So it is Remembrance Sunday. I want to get up and go see the Remembrance Sunday parade, so we might get a few clips of that in the morning. Elizabeth and I are then heading over to one of her family friends for Sunday lunch, so we're going to spend some time over there, and then hopefully when we're finished up there, my dad's going to reappear on Sunday to finally help me actually do some plastering. So the only thing I will probably do in the morning is just sand down the rough edges on here and just get those bits done and ready to go. But yeah, I think we're going to leave it there for the day. So we are marching ever closer towards having a plastered bedroom. I know it's been slow, continuous progress. I'll say slow, continuous progress. I massively underestimated how much work it was going to be. So that's one thing I have learned very quickly, is I need to just keep on moving with this prep work. So as soon as we've finished in this room, I need to get straight into that next bedroom and just start going on with it. Otherwise, we're just not going to meet the deadlines. Personal set deadlines, something to do. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all the views lately. We've been absolutely storming it with the content coming out, so really happy with it. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And all I'm going to say is happy hunting, and we'll see you in the next one.